I'm not responsible for whether life has meaning or not, but I am responsible for what I do with the life I've got. Here's the thing about seeking. When you're desperate to find something, you become blind to everything else. You're so locked onto that one target that you miss what's right in front of you. You've got this goal, this obsession, and it paralyzes you. Real finding, that's different. Finding means you're open. No agenda, no checklist, just receptive. And maybe the real problem is you're trying too hard. You're seeking so intensely that you can't actually find anything. I've always believed this. Whatever happens to us, good or bad, we can transform it. We can give it meaning. We can make it valuable. Some people think examining the world means despising it. But here's what matters: loving it, not hating each other. Just being able to look at the world, at ourselves, at everyone, with love and respect. Most people are like falling leaves. They drift, they turn in the air, they flutter down. But some people are like stars. They follow one path, no wind touches them. Their guide is inside. You represent something unique. The exact point where everything intersects. Right now, in this moment, never again. That's why your story matters. That's why you're worthy of attention. Learn what deserves your energy. Laugh at the rest. If you hate someone, you're hating something in yourself. What's not part of us doesn't bother us. Here's what we can actually do. Keep quiet when everyone's talking trash. Smile at people without hostility. Love the world a little more in small ways. Be faithful in our work. Show patience. Skip the cheap revenge of mockery. These are things within our control. There's no reality except what's inside us. So many people live unreal lives because they mistake the images outside for reality. They never let their inner world speak. Words fail us. They always become different the moment we say them. A little distorted, a little foolish. Maybe you're seeking too much. Maybe that's why you can't find Kate. I've stopped questioning stars and books. I've started listening to what my blood whispers to me. Sometimes holding on doesn't make us strong. Sometimes it's letting go. Suffering isn't here to destroy us. It's here to mature us, to transform us. Wisdom can't be taught. Knowledge, sure, you can communicate that. But wisdom, you have to find it, live it. You can't explain it to someone else. Love isn't here to make us happy. It exists to show us how much we can endure. People who won't think for themselves just obey the rules. Others feel their own laws inside them. Sometimes, the best people can't help loving those who destroy them. I had to sin. I needed lust. I had to chase money and feel sick and hit rock bottom to learn one thing: don't resist. Love the world as it is. Stop comparing it to some perfect version in your head. Every person has one real calling. Find your way to yourself. Discover your actual destiny, not some borrowed one. Live it completely. Everything else, just a fake existence, running from who you really are. Conformity. Fear of your own depths. I must judge for myself, choose for myself, reject for myself. Nobody else. We're not meant to become each other. We're meant to recognize each other, to see and honor what the other person is, their opposite, their complement. Youth ends when you stop living for yourself. Maturity begins when you live for others. Trees have always understood more than preachers. I respect them when they stand in forests, but I respect them more when they stand alone. Like solitary people, not hermits hiding from weakness. Like Beethoven, like Nietzsche, trees struggle with everything they have for one purpose: to fulfill themselves according to their own laws, to build their own form, to represent themselves. Nothing is more sacred than a strong tree. When a tree is cut, you can read its whole story in the rings. The narrow years, the luxurious years, the attacks, the storms, the struggle, the suffering. The hardest wood has the narrowest rings. High on mountains, in constant danger, the strongest trees grow. Trees don't preach learning. They preach the ancient law of life. The tree says, I am unique. The form of my skin, the veins, the smallest leaf, the smallest scar on my bark. I was made to express the eternal in my smallest detail. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life, and you'll call it fate. Your visions become clear when you look into your own heart. Who looks outside? Dreams. Who looks inside? Wakes up. People will do anything to avoid facing their own soul. You don't become enlightened by imagining light. You become enlightened by making the darkness conscious. Be silent. Listen. Have you recognized your madness? Do you admit it? Your foundations are buried in madness. You wanted to accept everything. So, accept madness too. Let your madness have light. Then it will dawn on you. Madness isn't something to fear. Give it life. If you want to find paths, don't reject madness. It makes up a huge part of who you are. Be glad you can recognize it. That way, you won't become its victim. Madness clings to all teachings, all philosophies, but even more to daily life, because life itself is full of craziness. Life has no rules. That's its mystery. Knowledge is just an attempt to make life comprehensible. Everything that irritates us about others leads us to understand ourselves. I'm not what happened to me. I'm what I choose to become. A man who hasn't passed through his passions has never overcome them. The only purpose of human existence, to light a candle in the darkness. Knowing your own darkness is the best way to deal with other people's darkness. Loneliness doesn't come from having no one around. It comes from being unable to share what feels important. From holding views others find unacceptable. The mind swings between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. There are as many nights as days. Even a happy life has darkness. The word happy means nothing without sadness to balance it. Everything depends on how we look at things, not on how things actually are. The smallest thing with meaning is worth more than the biggest thing without it. First half of life, build a healthy ego. Second half, go inward and let it go. Where love rules, there's no will to power. Where power dominates, love is missing. One is the shadow of the other. I'm astonished, disappointed, pleased with myself, distressed, depressed, excited. I'm all these things at once and can't add up the total. I can't determine my ultimate worth. I have no judgment about myself. I'm not sure about anything. I have no definite convictions. I only know I was born and exist. I've been carried along somehow. I exist on a foundation I don't understand. We shouldn't pretend to understand the world only through intellect. We grasp it just as much through feeling. Mistakes are the foundation of truth. If you don't know what something is, at least you know what it isn't. No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. It's my mind that gives the world color and sound. That supremely real and rational certainty I experience is actually an incredibly complex structure of mental images. In a sense, nothing is directly experienced except the mind itself. Everything is filtered through the mind, translated, twisted, even falsified by it. We're wrapped in a cloud of constantly shifting images. Every addiction is bad. Doesn't matter if it's alcohol, morphine, or idealism. About a third of my cases aren't suffering from any definable neurosis. They're suffering from the emptiness of their lives. This is the general sickness of our time. Midlife is the time to let go of the dominant ego, to think about the deeper meaning of existence. Wholeness isn't achieved by cutting off parts of yourself. It's achieved by integrating the opposites. In all chaos, there's a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. I've often seen people become sick when they settle for wrong answers to life's questions. They chase position, marriage, reputation, money. They get what they wanted, and they're still unhappy. These people are trapped in too narrow a view. Their life lacks content, lacks meaning. If they can develop into larger personalities, the sickness usually disappears. As a child, I felt alone. I still do, because I know things others don't seem to know, things they don't want to know. Accepting yourself is the whole moral problem. the summary of an entire outlook on life. I feed the hungry. I forgive insults. I love my enemy. These are great virtues. What I do to the least of my brothers, I do to Christ. But what if I discover that the least among them all, the poorest beggar, the worst offender, the enemy himself, what if these are inside me? What if I need my own kindness? What if I am the enemy who must be loved? Usually the Christian attitude reverses then. No more love or patience. We condemn the brother within us. We hide it from the world. We refuse to admit we met this least among the lowly in ourselves. We're not rich by what we own. We're rich by what we can do without. Act so you treat humanity, in yourself or in others, never just as a means to an end, always, also, as the end itself. All knowledge begins with the senses, moves to understanding, and ends with reason. Nothing is higher than reason. Don't seek the favor of crowds. It's rarely earned honestly. Seek the testimony of the few. Don't count voices. Weigh them. Genius is arriving at concepts independently that normally would need to be taught. Enlightenment is emerging from self-imposed immaturity. Immaturity is the inability to think without someone else's guidance. Two things fill me with wonder: the starry sky above and the moral law within. Morality isn't about making ourselves happy, it's about making ourselves worthy of happiness. Rules for happiness: something to do, someone to love, something to hope for. People stick to doctrines that require minimal self-effort and minimal use of their own reason. Doctrines that fit their duties to their preferences. Our age is the age of criticism. Everything must be questioned. Religion's sacredness and legislation's authority are often used as exemptions from examination. But if they're exempt, they become suspicious. They can't claim the respect that reason gives only to what survives free and public examination. If you make yourself a worm, don't complain when people step on you. Skepticism is a resting place for human reason, a place to reflect on dogmatic wandering, to survey the landscape, so in the future you can choose your path with more certainty. If truth kills them, let them die. Philosophy's duty is to destroy illusions born from misconceptions, no matter what hopes and expectations are ruined. Look closely. The beautiful may be small. Innocence is wonderful. It just doesn't keep well and is easily misled. As nature uncovered the seed for free thinking, this gradually affects people's character. They become capable of managing freedom. Eventually, it affects governments, which find it advantageous to treat people with dignity instead of like machines. For peace to exist, humans must evolve into new beings who've learned to see the whole first. How is perfection found? Where's our hope? In education, nothing else. Man must be disciplined. By nature, he's raw and wild. Out of the crooked timber of humanity, no straight thing was ever made. Space and time are frameworks the mind uses to construct its experience of reality. Thoughts without content are empty. Perceptions without concepts are blind. Nothing is divine except what's reasonable. A man alone on a desert island wouldn't decorate his hut, or himself wouldn't plant flowers. It's only in society that we try to be refined. That's the beginning of civilization. Everyone expects this sharing of pleasure from everyone else, as if it's an original human contract. The beautiful is limited. The sublime is limitless. So when the mind faces the sublime, trying to imagine what it cannot, it feels pain in the failure, but pleasure in contemplating the enormity of the attempt. In the middle of winter, I found an invincible summer inside me, and that makes me happy. Because it means no matter how hard the world pushes against me, there's something stronger inside, pushing back. For years I wanted to live by everyone else's rules. I forced myself to look like everyone else, to be like everyone else. I said what was necessary to fit in, even when I felt separate. And after all that, catastrophe came. Now I wander in the debris. I'm lawless, torn apart, alone and accepting it. resigned to my uniqueness, to my flaws, and I have to rebuild truth after living my whole life in a kind of lie. If absolute truth belongs to anyone, it doesn't belong to whoever claims to have it. You'll never be happy if you keep searching for what happiness is. You'll never live if you're looking for the meaning of life. Blessed are the hearts that can bend. They'll never break. Don't walk in front of me, I might not follow. Don't walk behind me, I might not lead. Walk beside me, just be my friend. I don't believe in God, and I'm not an atheist. There's no point in lecturing about ethics. I've seen people behave terribly, with great morality, and I notice every day that integrity doesn't need rules. An intellectual? Yes, never deny it. An intellectual is someone whose mind watches itself. I like this. I'm happy to be both halves, the watcher and the watched. Can they be put together? That's a practical question. We have to figure it out. I despise intelligence really means I can't bear my doubts. In the world, parallel to the force of death, there's an enormous force of persuasion called culture. Nobody realizes that some people use tremendous energy just to be normal. Get scared. It'll do you good. Smoke, stare at ceilings, beat your head against walls. Refuse to see some people. Paint, write. Get scared some more. Let your mind do nothing but function. Stay inside. Go out. I don't care what you do, but stay scared as hell. You'll never experience everything, so do justice to your soul and simply experience yourself. When you've seen the glow of happiness on someone's face, you know that a person's only calling is to awaken that light on the faces around them. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so free that your existence itself is rebellion. A man wants to earn money to be happy. His whole effort and best years go to earning that money. Happiness is forgotten. The means become the end. Find meaning. Distinguish melancholy from sadness. Go for a walk. It doesn't have to be a romantic walk in the park. Spring at its most spectacular. Flowers and smells and poetic imagery, smoothly transferring you to another world. It doesn't have to be a walk where you have multiple life revelations and discover meanings no one else has found. Don't be afraid of quality time by yourself. Find meaning or don't, but steal some time. Give it freely and exclusively to yourself. Choose privacy and solitude. That doesn't make you antisocial or mean you reject the world. But you need to breathe, and you need to be. Evil in the world comes almost always from ignorance. Good intentions can cause as much damage as bad intentions if they're not enlightened. People are more often good than bad, but that's not really the question. They're more or less ignorant. And this is what we call vice, or virtue. The worst vice is ignorance that thinks it knows everything, and therefore authorizes itself to kill. The murderer's soul is blind. There's no true goodness without the greatest possible clear-sightedness. I keep believing this world has no ultimate meaning, but I know something in it has meaning. Man. Because he's the only creature who insists on having one. People rush to judge so they won't be judged themselves. Whoever does violence to truth eventually mutilates justice, even if they think they're serving it. From this view, we'll deny that oppress is true because it's revolutionary. It'll be revolutionary only if it's true, never otherwise. Man is the only creature who refuses to be what he is. You're worried about getting things done, to have some self-worth. Your soul is for sale. You probably deceive yourself to convince yourself. Letting go equals failing, right? And you forget brilliantly, don't you? You forget that it takes courage not only to try but also to gracefully give up. Men are never convinced of your reasons, your sincerity, your suffering, except by your death. While you're alive, your case is doubtful. You only have a right to their skepticism. Beauty is unbearable. It drives us to despair, offering us, for a minute, a glimpse of eternity we'd like to stretch across all time. We all carry places of exile inside us, our crimes, our damage. Our task isn't to unleash them on the world. It's to transform them in ourselves and others. We rarely confide in people better than us. We're more likely to avoid them. Usually we confess to people like us, people who share our weaknesses. We don't want to improve ourselves. We'd have to be judged first. Instead, we just want to be pitied and encouraged in the path we've chosen. In short, we want to stop being guilty without making the effort to clean ourselves. Every time I hear a political speech or read what our leaders say, I'm horrified. For years I've heard nothing human, always the same words, telling the same lies. The fact that people accept this, that anger hasn't destroyed these hollow performers, proves to me that people don't care how they're governed. They gamble with their whole life, their vital interests. I see many people die because they judge life isn't worth living. I see others getting killed for ideas that give them a reason to live. What's called a reason for living is also a reason for dying. So I conclude, the meaning of life is the most urgent question. When I'm dead, the parts that compose me will keep performing their role in the universe. They'll be just as useful as when they formed this individual creature. The difference to the whole will be no greater than the difference between me being in a room versus outside. One change matters more to me than the other, but not more to the universe. He's happy whose circumstances fit his nature, but he's more excellent who can fit his nature to his circumstances. Beauty is no quality in things themselves. It exists in the mind that sees them. Each mind sees different beauty. One person might see ugliness where another sees beauty. Everyone should accept their own perception without trying to control others. To seek real beauty or real ugliness is as pointless as trying to determine real sweet or real bitter. Be a philosopher, but amid all your philosophy, be still a person. Heaven and hell assume two types of people, good and bad, but most people float between vice and virtue. People's views come from their understanding alone. Their conduct is controlled by their understanding, their temperament, and their passions. The identity we give to things is fictitious, established by the mind, not a special nature belonging to what we're talking about. Generally, errors in religion are dangerous. Errors in philosophy are just ridiculous. When people are most sure and arrogant, they're usually most mistaken, giving in to passion without proper thought, which secures them from the worst absurdities. Epicurus asked, "Is God willing to prevent evil but not able? Then he's powerless. Is he able but not willing? Then he's cruel. Is he both able and willing? Then why does evil exist?" If we pick up any book of theology or metaphysics, let's ask, does it contain abstract reasoning about quantity or number? No. Does it contain experimental reasoning about facts? No, then throw it in the fire. It contains nothing but sophistry and illusion. I can say of humanity, they're nothing but a bundle of different perceptions that follow each other incredibly fast, in constant flow and movement. The sweetest path of life leads through science and learning. Whoever removes obstacles or opens new prospects should be seen as a helper to mankind. It's absurd to believe God has human passions, one of the lowest human passions, a restless hunger for applause, while the body is stuck on one planet, creeping with pain and difficulty. Thought can instantly transport us to the most distant regions of the universe, or beyond the universe, into boundless chaos, where nature lies in total confusion. What was never seen or heard can still be imagined. Nothing is beyond the power of thought, except what implies absolute contradiction. All feeling is right, because feeling refers to nothing beyond itself. It's always real wherever someone is conscious of it. But not all determinations of understanding are right. They refer to something beyond themselves, actual matter of facts. And they're not always accurate to that standard. In reasoning about facts, there are all degrees of certainty, from the highest to the lowest moral evidence. A wise person proportions their belief to the evidence. Does a sensible person chase every silly tale of goblins or fairies? Examine particularly the evidence. I never knew anyone who examined and thought about nonsense, who didn't believe it by the end of their inquiry. We allow for some selfishness in people because we know it's inseparable from human nature, built into our frame. With this reflection, we correct the blame that naturally comes up when someone opposes us. Nothing seems more surprising than how easily the many are governed by the few. The implicit submission people give, resigning their own feelings and desires to their rulers. When we ask how this happens, we find that force is always on the side of the governed. Governors have nothing to support them but opinion. Government is founded only on opinion. This applies to the most despotic governments as well as the most free. The soldier of Egypt or emperor of Rome might drive his subjects like animals against their will, but he must at least have led his guards like men, through their opinion. When I look deeply into what I call myself, I always stumble on some particular perception, heat or cold, light or shade, love or hatred, pain or pleasure. I could never catch myself without a perception, never observe anything but the perception. If anyone thinks they have a different notion of themselves, I can't argue with them anymore. I'll admit they might be right just as much as I am. We're essentially different in this way. They might perceive something simple and continuous they call themselves. Though I'm certain there's no such principle in me. It clicked the moment I noticed how tired I was of explaining myself. Not tired like I need a nap. Tired like dragging a sack of wet concrete around, trying to justify my choices, my silence, my pace, my life. You probably know this feeling. You wake up, you do what needs to be done. You don't cause problems. And still, people talk over you, decide for you, assume things about you. And the worst part isn't the disrespect. It's how invisible it feels. For a long time, I thought the fix was clarity, better words, better arguments. If I could just explain myself well enough, people would finally get it. They didn't. What I didn't realize back then is that seeking answers too aggressively blinds you to what's already right in front of you. You get obsessed with the target, and while you're staring at it, life keeps happening under your nose. I was always looking for meaning. Books, ideas, quotes, big thoughts, and somehow I kept missing my own reactions. My body, my instincts, the quiet signals telling me when something was off. I was chasing insight like a man tangled in his own rope, pulling harder and wondering why he couldn't move. At some point, I stopped asking so many questions, not because I'd figured everything out, but because I noticed something strange. When I shut up, the world started talking. I don't mean spiritually, I mean practically. People filled the silence. They explained themselves. They showed their hand, and I realized how much noise I had been adding before, talking to be understood, talking to be seen. Silence flipped the dynamic. When you stop rushing to define yourself, others start projecting. And that projection tells you more than any conversation ever could. There was a guy at work, always loud, always opinionated. I used to argue with him, push back, correct him. One day, I didn't. I just listened, let the dead air hang there. He kept going, overshared, contradicted himself, got sloppy, and I did nothing. That's when it hit me. Authority isn't volume, it's restraint. Most men live like falling leaves, drifting, reacting, letting the wind decide where they land. A few move like stars, quiet path, internal compass, no wind touches them. The difference isn't intelligence, it's self-governance. I used to think loving the world meant agreeing with it. Now I see it differently. You don't have to admire people's behavior to accept reality as it is. You don't have to hate the system to stop letting it live in your head rent-free. Hate is attachment with bad branding. If someone irritates you, it's because they're poking something unfinished inside you. What doesn't belong to us doesn't disturb us. I learned to watch my reactions instead of defending them. Gossip used to pull me in. Now I stay quiet, not out of virtue, out of discipline. Mockery is cheap revenge. Silence costs more. That's why it works. Most people live borrowed lives. They treat external images as reality and never let the inner world speak. That's why they're exhausted. They're actors who never leave the stage. I stopped trying to sound wise. Words distort thoughts anyway. They come out clumsier than they felt inside. So I speak less, and when I speak, it's cleaner. I used to think holding on made me strong. Turns out, letting go takes more nerve. Some pain isn't there to break you. It's there to mature you, like wood hardening in bad weather. Wisdom can't be handed over. If someone tries, it sounds like nonsense. You have to bleed for it. Sit with it. Live wrong long enough to understand why it's wrong. Love doesn't exist to make you comfortable. It shows you how much you can endure without collapsing. I had to fail at my ideals, chase status, lust, approval, hit the nausea phase. Only then did I stop comparing reality to some imaginary perfect version of life. This is it, this flawed, noisy, imperfect thing, and it's enough.